Minutes ago, Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody also renewed her push for the federal government to consider fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. That would open up more resources to stop drug trafficking.
We're fighting to have fentanyl declared a weapon of mass destruction by the United States government, as they well know that it's a weapon of mass destruction. The Council for Combating Synthetic Opioids that just convened said that these fentanyl pills are a slow motion weapon of mass destruction in pill form, and that it's being done with malice. And this is a third or 21st century opium war that's being launched against us.
And this really shocked me. This is the way that these drug dealers are targeting young people these days. They are using emojis. Look at that. Different emojis for Xanax, for Adderall, for cocaine, for cough syrup, for meth. These are the emojis they use, and this is how they communicate with the young people. It's unbelievable. And then we find out that this is the #1 reason that young people in America are dying.
Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri says that the amount of fentanyl seized is enough to kill everyone in Pinellas 3 times over. Recently, several children were exposed.
They may look like candy and even our childhood vitamins, but experts say just one of these pills can kill you. They're known as rainbow fentanyl, and they're spreading throughout the nation and across the Bay Area. The latest find in Hayward.
Some of the pills had Hello Kitty or skeleton type designs to it.
This is about 750 multicolored pills believed to be fentanyl, and several other narcotics and contraband found by Hayward police during a traffic stop just weeks ago. Fines, they say, have increased in the past month.
Very small doses of fentanyl can be fatal. And that's what's so scary about these pills, especially given the fact they look like candy. Even young kids could see these and think that it's something that's safe, and it's really very dangerous.
The DEA has been warning the public since late August, asking parents to speak with their children after seizing brightly colored fentanyl and fentanyl pills in 18 states. They believe it's a deliberate effort by drug traffickers to drive addiction among kids and young adults. The nonprofit Families Against Fentanyl say in the last 2 years, fentanyl fatalities have increased nearly 5-fold in 6 states, including California. Just last year, the Golden State registered more than 5,000 fentanyl deaths.
They're all over the street. It's hard to find real Perc 30s or anything on the street that are real anymore.
They are made to look exactly like real prescription pills, including Percocet, Xanax, and Adderall. But instead, they're made using fentanyl, a cheap synthetic drug. All it takes is this much, a couple milligrams, to cause a fatal overdose. When you look at counterfeit and real ones side by side, it's impossible to tell the difference.
You just have no idea what's in the pill.
It's Russian roulette. It's Russian roulette.
And this is a pill press.
Special agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration for New England, Brian Boyle, showed us a press that can make thousands of pills a day, seized here in Massachusetts. The DEA is sounding the alarm, saying the U.S. is being flooded with fake pills.
Sometimes these kids think they're actually using a regular pill, and that's the scary part, is they don't know. That one pill can kill you.
Also troubling, the easy access to drugs that social media offers, even an emoji code to place orders.
Gone are the days of street dealers. A lot of times they're now using social media. They're using the internet, Snapchat.
The FBI used incriminating social media posts by this North Shore gang member in their case against him. Investigators say Vincent Caruso made pressed pills and sold them to other gangs. Here's a chunk of fentanyl and his pill press. Firearms, including a handgun modified to shoot on full auto. Bags with tens of thousands of pressed pills. He bragged about the profits. There's this selfie with stacks of cash. His criminal case is pending.
There we go. But first, you're looking at a massive pile of fentanyl-laced pills. 1 million pills in total. The drug seized by the DEA in Inglewood, California, the largest fentanyl pill bust in the state's history. Fentanyl is believed to be the main driver behind the recent spike in drug overdoses. There were more than 107,000 last year alone. Many dealers have been lacing the substance into other drugs such as OxyContin, Xanax, cocaine, and more without their customers' knowledge. And it does not take much to kill you. Take a look at this. This is crazy. That there is a lethal amount of fentanyl compared to the size of a penny. Just that little bit. You don't think fentanyl is a big deal. It is. It is the #1 killer of young Americans in this country right now. Not cancer, not car accidents. It is fentanyl. And Jim, I think one issue is that the people who get these pills don't even realize that there's fentanyl in them. But you mentioned Mexico and China. It is being made in Mexico and China. How is it getting in? How are they sneaking it in? How's it getting past us?
UPS trucks, buses, backpacks with guys swimming across the Rio Grande to planes, trains, you name it, it's coming. So we've got to do a better job on the border.
But we can stop this material from coming to the United States by enacting Title 15 of the DHS rule, naming this a weapon of mass destruction. We can enable ICE and other agents to seize this material at its ports of entry, at its transshipments places in Singapore. We can freeze up their money. We can put a real dent in this. We don't have to tolerate this. This is being tolerated in order to shirk responsibility of the government and allow this to happen, sacrifice our young people in order to fulfill some agenda of free immigration into the country or for whatever reasons. But we have a chemical threat, a CTRA. We've asked for a FOIA on from the government, a chemical threat risk assessment on fentanyl. The DHS and the rest of the government knows this is a weapon of mass destruction. It can be repurposed in order to cause mass casualty events and jump from the slow motion weapon of mass destruction into a major social destruction.
So she's urging parents to have those difficult conversations with your kids and your loved ones, especially because things like rainbow pills, as we've reported to you, are popping up more often, and these are, of course, attractive to children. Law enforcement are going after dealers, and more state attorneys are using the death by distribution law to stop this highly toxic drug from circulating.
A suspected fentanyl overdose death has the Mobile County Sheriff's Office sending a warning to others. There might be a bad batch of drugs circulating.
Dealing with what they believe to be a fentanyl overdose death, the Mobile County Sheriff's Office is trying to reach others who may have come in contact with the drugs.
We hope to save lives out of this story is what we hope.
Captain Paul Burt says deputies were called to this home at 6950 March Point Court in Theodore, where 21-year-old Nick Zerlot was found dead by his roommate. On-site tests confirming fentanyl was present. According to Birch, it's believed Zerlot went to Mississippi yesterday and picked up a variety of drugs, including fentanyl. There's now even more concern after neighbors told investigators there were a large group of people coming and going from the house this morning.
We're just urging anybody who went to that house this morning that may have purchased or been given, any kind of pills or powder that, please don't consume it or distribute it.
That's because fentanyl is showing up in most street drugs, including pills. Even the smallest amount can be deadly.
This is a problem that terrifies parents, and it seems to be getting worse. Our nation's fentanyl crisis is hitting the Bay Area hard. Teenagers, even children, are dying with the powerful opioid in their systems.
This case surrounds a 16-year-old girl found dead in another person's home with drugs in her system. The girl's parents say instead of treating it as a potential crime scene, Santa Cruz County deputies dismissed it as just another overdose, causing them to lose the opportunity to hold the person who gave her the drugs accountable.
Medical aid, Howell Lane, Corralitos.
The call came in at 7:40 p.m., November 12th, in unincorporated Santa Cruz County. A possible fentanyl poisoning of a 20-year-old female in this house. Except she wasn't 20. She was 16. Lace Price was in Michael Russell's family home, reportedly barely breathing.
Medic 9 en route, 1945.
Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office's own incident report shows they treated the call as an overdose. Price couldn't be revived. At 8:47, the coroner was notified.
Fountain copies engine, 1766 returning. 2051.
So, in my opinion, this should have been treated as a suspicious death.
3 months later, 23-year-old Russell from San Jose was criminally charged with having sex with 2 minors, including Price, and providing her with Xanax and Percocet. Russell has pleaded not guilty.
And that matters to me.
It's not just Price's mother feeling this pain. The numbers of fatal fentanyl poisonings are soaring. Last year, San Francisco saw 476 deaths. SFPD initiated a suspicious death investigation in February after finding a 16-year-old girl suspected of overdosing in this alley. Edwin Moore doesn't know the girl, but visited her memorial overcome with emotion.
She was a baby. She was somebody's baby.
And just recently in the South Bay, on April 1st, police say a Los Altos high school student was found dead, possibly from fentanyl. Throughout Santa Clara County, fentanyl deaths tripled from 2019 to 2020, then spiked again in 2021. And in Santa Cruz County, where the Prices are from, fatal fentanyl poisonings nearly quadrupled from 2019 to 2020, surging even more last year. Michael Russell is not facing any charges directly related to Price's death. Her parents want to know why. Prosecutors on the criminal case declined to provide details, citing active court proceedings. So the investigative unit spoke to Santa Clara County DA Jeff Rosen, who made the call to file a murder charge against a suspected drug dealer this year after he says a 12-year-old San Jose girl died from taking a pill laced with fentanyl, but says prosecutors statewide are starting to file murder or manslaughter charges in fentanyl poisonings, but under specific circumstances.
We charge fentanyl when we can prove that the drug dealer knew how dangerous fentanyl was, knew that people could die from using it just by using a tiny amount or using it once, and sold it anyway to put profit over human life.
From the CDC to local counties, officials are sounding the alarm. Dealers are adding fentanyl to other drugs because it's extremely potent. It makes the drugs cheaper to produce, more addictive, and more dangerous. Rosen says charging a fentanyl dealer with the death of a user requires a thorough investigation from the start.
Otherwise, evidence that we would need disappears.
Which is the mistake Lace Price's parents say happened in their daughter's case. Russell is also charged with concealing or destroying her phone. Michael and Jill Price believe Santa Cruz County deputies failed to look at their daughter's death as a possible crime when the 911 call came in, dismissing it as just another tragic overdose.
Just the sloppy.
The investigative unit tried 3 different ways to reach Santa Cruz County Sheriff Jim Hart. His spokesperson said he declined an interview. We emailed him these specific questions, but never got a response. So we stopped by his office.
So we're going in now. We're going to see if Sheriff Hart comes out to answer our questions. All right, just spoke with someone with his office, and they say he's still not available to talk.
We as a law enforcement community, specifically on behalf of the District Attorney's Office, take this issue very seriously.
Johanna Schoenfield is an assistant district attorney with Santa Cruz County, supervising the narcotics unit. She can't talk about specific cases, but says her office works with law enforcement to fight fentanyl, prioritizing education.
The death to me is too late for the focus to be the emphasis. The tragedy has already occurred. I believe that the emphasis should be further upstream.
What do you mean needs to be dealt with further upstream?
Well, why are people using drugs to begin with? Why are children actively online engaging in drug-seeking behavior?
A common concern I've heard from a number of families impacted by this crisis is that they feel there's more of a blame placed on the victim and their families and not actually on the people that they believe are providing these deadly drugs. And they feel comments like that exacerbate that.
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and I don't want to minimize that we are holding drug dealers accountable.
Ready?
3, 2.
Like there's a whole community of people that are hurting. It just seems like she was unimportant. And it's like she you know, she was wildly important.
Our investigation continues. We find more complaints of law enforcement failing to take fentanyl seriously, and the 911 call from a key person in the case that some say might have saved this girl's life.
Do you guys want to catch a drug dealer like who's literally had someone OD off perks before by giving them fentanyl-laced Percocet?